Sit, close your eyes if you need to. There's a quiet tension in the air, a strange pause that doesn't belong. You feel it, don't you? The weight of attention. Not physically, not mentally, not emotionally. That year, the one you know, the one no one expected you to survive. They calculated you would break, predicted the moment you'd collapse, counted every weakness, estimate the precise day despair would overtake you. They were wrong, because someone who survives what should kill them doesn't just endure. They become unquantifiable. That year wasn't random, it wasn't a test, it wasn't a coincidence, it was deliberate. Every loss, every betrayal, every isolation, every attack designed to erase your existence, engineered. They underestimated your stubbornness, your persistence, your refusal to surrender. And yet, quietly, relentlessly, you endured. You woke when your body screamed stop. You moved when your mind whispered surrender. You carried pain no one should have. You faced darkness they hoped would break you. And you survived. You didn't know it then, but your survival shattered their models, destroyed their predictions, erased the neat little boxes they had built around you. You became a problem they cannot solve, a variable they didn't include in their calculations. And now, somewhere, they feel it. That shift, that disruption, that uncomfortable realization that you are beyond their control. The world expects weakness, they expect a collapse, they expect despair. But you delivered the impossible. They didn't plan for someone like you. Someone with no fear left. Someone with nothing to lose. Someone who refuses to obey their rules. And that's why everything they thought was stable is unraveling. Because you are here, still standing, still breathing, still untouchable. That year hit like a hurricane aimed directly at your chest, every direction, every angle. Every blow is calculated to destroy. Financial ruin, emotional warfare, physical strain, social isolation, loss upon loss, and yet you continued. You woke when the world expected you to stay down. You moved when every logical reason told you to quit. You endured when every force designed to break you whispered surrender. They twisted truths, spread lies, painted you as a villain in stories they wrote about your life. Fake friends became spies. Smiles became weapons. Conversations became traps, and they believed it would work. They assumed someone would crumble under this, that someone would bend, that someone would disappear, not you. You learned to function without validation, to move without support, to breathe without relief. You endured, not heroically, not loudly, quietly, relentlessly. That year stripped you bare. And in the process, it revealed something terrifying. You are unbreakable, not invincible, not immune to pain, but resistant to their systems, resistant to control, resistant to defeat. Because someone who has survived everything the world could throw at them cannot be managed, cannot be contained, cannot be predicted. And that's when the panic started. They realized their calculations had failed. Their rules no longer applied. Their expectations had been destroyed. And the quiet, stubborn thing that refused to die, that was you. They expected a victim. They got a survivor. They expected obedience. They got independence. They expected weakness. They got a force they cannot touch. And then it happened. A subtle shift, almost imperceptible, a pause in their confidence, a flicker of doubt in the faces that once smiled at you so easily. They began noticing things, the way you survived losses that would have destroyed anyone else, the way you refused to bend to fear, to manipulation, to expectation. Some of them started questioning themselves. Some remembered the real you, the one who always showed up, the one who never faltered, even when the world tried to erase you. And that's when their panic grew, because their models had no category for this. Their predictions were useless, their rules meaningless, their strategies failing. You were not a statistic they could erase. You were an anomaly, and it terrified them. They whispered, they recalculated. They rewrote everything they thought they knew. They tried to regain control. They tried to manipulate outcomes, but their manipulations failed, already beyond their expectations, already beyond their influence. You didn't argue, you didn't explain, you didn't try to make them see. You just existed, Your calmness became your weapon. Your silence became a mirror. Their own tactics reflected back at them, exposing desperation and weakness. And every time they tried to push, you held steady. Every time they tried to break you, you adapted. Every time they tried to predict you, you moved in ways they didn't anticipate. Because someone who has already survived the worst cannot be forced into a path they don't choose. That year trained you in ways they cannot understand. It forged patience, endurance, and resilience. It created power that doesn't need validation, doesn't need permission, and doesn't need to prove itself. And now, while they scramble, adjust, and panic, you are collected. You are collected. You are untouchable. They expected a victim. They expected fear. They expected collapse. What they got was you, and then you noticed it too. The cracks, the hesitation, the subtle unraveling of every person who tried to contain you. They were scrambling, not loudly, not violently, subtly, quietly, but unmistakably. Every smile forced, every conversation cautious, every plan faltering. They had assumed control. They had assumed fear. They had assumed you would bend, break, or vanish. They assumed wrong. Some of them began doubting their own lies. Some of them began questioning their alliances. Some remembered what was real. And in those moments, their system collapsed. Half of them drifted away. Half of them questioned everything. Half of them remembered truth, and in remembering, they were lost. You didn't manipulate. You didn't speak louder than your presence. Your silence became louder than their plotting. Your endurance became sharper than their weapons. Your calm became more dangerous than their panic. They tried to regain control, to rewrite reality, to force outcomes, to bend the narrative. But you moved independently of it all. You adapted without effort. You continued without justification. You survived without witnesses. And every time they tried to pull strings, the strings snapped. Every time they tried to corner you, you walked out. Every time they tried to define you, you refused to be defined. You didn't explain, you didn't justify your survival, you simply existed, and that was enough. Because when you survive what they were sure would destroy you, when you endure what they thought would erase you, the world itself begins to rearrange. Their rules no longer apply, their predictions are worthless, their systems crumble under your existence. They are panicking, scrambling, desperate. And the realization is horrifying to them. You were never theirs to control. You were never theirs to break. You were never theirs to predict. And now, every effort they make to contain you is futile. Because the one thing they forgot, the one thing no one could prepare for, is you. And now, here you are. You are no longer carrying trauma. You are carrying proof. Proof that the impossible can be endured. Proof that what should have broken you only made you stronger. Proof that someone who refuses to bend cannot be predicted, cannot be controlled, cannot be stopped. They are scrambling because of you, adjusting their models, rewriting their rules, recalculating what they thought they understood. Because someone like you doesn't fit into their patterns. Someone like you refuses to obey their timelines. Someone like you survives when every calculation says you shouldn't. No one expected you to make it. And now, they are learning the hard way that you can't be accounted for. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. You don't need recognition. Because every day you exist is proof enough. Every moment you breathe is defiance. Every choice you make is rebellion. They were certain they could erase you. They were certain they could bend you. They were certain they could break you. You didn't just survive that year, you conquered it, you transcended it, you transformed it into power no one else could understand. That year was your crucible, your trial by fire, your test no one else could endure. And now, everything after it is yours, every step, every move forward. You are unstoppable. You are undeniable. You are the anomaly they cannot control. You weren't supposed to survive that year. And yet here you are, breathing, rising. The world is scrambling because they never expected someone like you to exist. And you're just getting started.